What is up, Nintendo Land? Welcome to the Nintendo Open Air Podcast. There's more sad news in Nintendo Land this week, as another Nintendo venture has an official end of service date. That's right, Miitomo is officially coming to an end later this year. While the service has been largely abandoned by its fan base, there are still some dedicated users, some of whom are here with us tonight. And of course, the choices continue. Miitomo has left us with some overarching questions. Is this the end of the Mii? Should you ever invest in a Nintendo mobile title? We'll be discussing this and more as our final topic of the evening, so stick around. Before we begin tonight, let me start as always by introducing our panel. We've got Mo and Z with us tonight as always. We've got Max with us tonight, and our good arcade bunny friend, Eric, is with us. And of course, I'm your host, Jason. So tonight, we start with the Game Developers Conference State of the Industry Survey. So apparently this is something that goes out before the conference later this year and just ask game developers what's going on about some different topics. One of the most interesting things I thought is that development for the Switch, according to the survey, has went up from 3% to 12% since last year. And making games available on the Switch has increased from 5% to 15%. So seems like the Switch is becoming pretty popular even among developers.
Yeah, Switch is up, VR is down.
That's right.
Yeah. I remember in previous years that they do that every year, and like, who's developing for the Wii U and seeing the news stories on that. It's like 0.02% of people say they're developing for the Wii U. So even something, it sounds like a small number, but that's of an industry. That's quite a few different people developing games. So that's a good sign.
That's right. And another number was that platform interest among the developers was 36% were interested in the Switch, in developing for the Switch. So, I mean, that's definitely, it doesn't seem like a lot, but it is.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you got to remember this includes, I'm pretty sure this includes, PC, which obviously is going to have the largest share, but I think it's also mobile.
Yeah.
Which is mobile mine. I bet you I would be. I
mobile
actually
overtakes PC.
I bet you it would these days at the game developers conferences, because and all that kind of stuff. Because PC games are their own thing. There's a lot of AAA titles and there's a lot of indie titles, but it seems like everybody and their grandmother's still trying to put something on the Apple App Store and make a buck off of people. Still,
although Steam has some pretty atrocious titles as well that obviously were first-time developers, and a lot of where people buy a property and then just kind of flip it. Maybe throw like a little picture in, draw a little pixel art themselves, but pretty much it's just asset flipping.
Yeah, it's probably a toss-up now you mention it. Maybe it is still PC, but regardless, yeah, I mean, versus how many people were interested for developing during the heyday of the Wii U. I don't even want to know what those numbers were. Right?
Right.
Those were in single digits. Yeah, no, or less. Those were probably under 5%, like through at the best point of the Wii U.
Yeah. But money talks, and we've heard so many stories keep coming up about people touting their success on Switch and how well their game's doing on Switch. So, I would think that people hear that and they say, "Oh, I got to get in on the Switch thing."
I'm still waiting for
the new fidget spinner.
I'm still waiting. It kind of is. Yeah. It's the new Wii. It totally is a new Wii. I want Kerbal Space Program. Excuse me.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that before.
It was supposed to come out on Wii U. It was announced for Wii U, and then not a peep ever since. And now just like obviously it's never coming out. But there was never a cancellation notice that I ever saw of any kind. There was nothing. There was an announcement and just gone.
Well, the way things work today, I mean, they very well could post tomorrow and say, by the way, that game you've been waiting on, it'll be out next week. I mean,
like the fall too. Oh.
Yeah, Eric. But no, I mean, I would not be surprised. to see it. It has surprised me a little bit. It hasn't shown up in one of these big indie batches. There are so many damn games on the eShop now. It just kind of surprised me it hasn't shown up yet. But I imagine it's coming. I mean, at this point though, it's been years. Like
it
was
go
still
to that coming
kinda,
soon section and it's loaded.
Yeah, but I mean, you know what I mean? When they announced it for Wii U, it was still kind of new. Now it's not anymore. But I'd still play it on Switch.
Yeah. Some stuff just goes away too.
Kind of touch back on what we said a little bit ago. Mobile and VR development was down this year, and I think it's maybe is VR on the way out, and could mobile be weakening? Although I thought it was growing in popularity, but
well, that totally feeds what Mo and I were just talking about. Then maybe it wasn't mobile. If mobile's then that whole concept is kind of slipping with people thinking that they're going to be the next Flappy Bird.
Well, the problem with mobile, just like with Steam, it's hard to get visibility there. There's so many billions. You can literally type any word just about in the dictionary, and there's going to be a mobile game that you get a hit from.
Yep.
It's gotten to that point.
Yeah, you type Nintendo Switch, and there's 20 things that come up, and it's like Switch emulator for your phone and Nintendo Switch guide.
So now in this world, one advantage I will say we had living in Nintendo's little walled ecosystem is we had a reasonably curated, at least for a little while, we had a reasonably curated list of games. I mean, at some point they seemed to open the floodgates to the crap, but there was at least for a while
had its fair share of that as well.
Yeah, but I mean, for at least a little while there was kind of, you know what I mean? It was kind of this limited quality selection, and I miss that.
Yeah.
And now we live in an era this is the shovelware that killed the Atari, right? What happens when every game on every platform, you know what I mean? What happens when shovelware is everywhere? What do you do?
Yeah, and it's getting there. I think right now, even though it seems like it's getting worse and worse on Switch, and even Wii U seems like it's really horrible, hundreds of bad games, whereas Steam has literally hundreds of thousands. People has hundreds and thousands.
I don't know if it's hundreds of thousands, but it's.
Oh, I bet you it is. So I mean, Nintendo is a little bit.
They
used to be.
In all fairness, per previous discussions, I mean, some of this stuff, one man's crap is another man's treasure in some cases.
People are just looking for a $2 game that they just want to mess around with for a few minutes.
Yeah, there's a couple. Like I paid $1 for that stupid kangaroo bouncing game that was a mobile port on 3DS. Just because it was in 3D and it was like $1, and it's stupid, but it's I wasted a couple hours with it. So there's on Steam. I have the shower with your dad simulator. I've probably put an hour and a half into that, and it's it's in the I mean, but I get the idea of an indie developer. Sometimes if you just have a neat idea, even if like that game, the graphics are terrible and it's the simplest, stupidest game you can imagine, kind of like Whoa Dave or whatever, but for some people it hits something, Now that said, there's a lot of there's a lot of very shoddy, cynically minded in terms of microtransactions and whatever. There's a lot of that kind of crap on Switch's eShop already. You know what I mean? There's things like Shower with Your Dad Simulator is an honest attempt, maybe by one dude or a couple dudes, to slap something together that's goofy and funny and that people get a kick out of, versus some of this stuff that's really, just veiled scams to get your money, right? And I feel like there's at least a smattering of that kind of stuff that's shown up on our eShop, and I wish that kind of stuff weren't there.
Yeah.
You guys
Don't
talking
forget
about
the port.
Go ahead, Derek.
Go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to say.
Don't forget the port that came from. Don't forget the port that came to the Switch. That's even worse than the the mobile game itself.
Oh yeah, the
So go ahead,
mobile one.
Jason.
That's what I think
Yeah.
about when we talk about all this stuff coming to Switch. When I think about what makes me angry about what's on the Switch eShop, what I'm most disappointed in, it's games like that. They're just lazy and terribly done. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say
But
is,
then, like I said, you hear those people say that, we've tried this many times to get our game on the eShop, and Nintendo's rejected it. And you're like, well, how did these guys get through that?
And here's another thing: is okay. Nintendo wanted to beat down the whole notion that the console doesn't have any games on it because Wii U and whatever. Okay, you've done that. You've more than done that. Now, please stop. Stop.
Right.
Just put out a couple games a week. You know what I mean? We don't need 15 completely forgettable mobile ports every Thursday.
Does Nintendo make any money if someone puts out does Nintendo make any money if someone puts out a crappy mobile port on the Switch, but they sell zero games, copies of it?
Yep.
A dev kit?
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's probably some. I bet you there's some
fee
fee. I bet you there's some fee to post and your game up and that kind of business too.
Probably.
Right.
Yeah.
have to be.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, like I said, right. I mean, other than you've got the best sellers list, which kind of helps the cream rise to the top. But still, that's only 15 or 20 games. And like I said, God forbid there was a great game on Switch that somehow didn't make that cut off. That game is buried.
It's gone.
Although Nintendo does a fairly decent job. It's still, I think it's
Mario
in the
vs.
best
Rabbids
sellers.
on the bestseller.
I think so.
Okay, because that would have been a good example.
I think it's in there. Yeah,
but
I think it's in there.
Nintendo highlighted all sorts. I'm staring at my Wii U eShop right now, and there's all sorts of highlighted stuff on here. Hey, DLC available for Zelda. Hey, check out the original Splatoon. Demo available of Pokken Tournament. The
letter.
Okay, you've proven that you can do a clean, snappy OS.
Yeah.
Okay. Now give us a normal frigging eShop. Give us some Nintendo music, for God's sakes.
Yeah. The Wii looked better than this.
Well, no, the Wii.
And it only had Virtual Console and WiiWare. Oh.
I would argue that this is actually comparable to the Wii's shop. Right? It's about as functional.
What do you think, Jason?
I think the Wii was better. There wasn't so much junk to go through.
Oh, there's that too. Okay.
Yeah. Plus, they had a Virtual Console. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, the Wii had the curated quality. They're
at least split into sections. It's super nice. And
but also they're Jason's right. That's before they opened the floodgates to all the crap. Pretty much everything on the Wii shop. The downloads. At least a decent quality product. You know what I mean? It's not just a crappy port of a phone game because that stuff didn't exist. I guess it's just a lot of that stuff didn't exist back then. But it's just that it's what I mean. It's a totally different mindset. It's still the Nintendo seal of quality, like every cartridge that we own or whatever.
You could spend 30 minutes going through the Wii eShop and realize that most of what you're seeing is worth a download or at least worth looking into. I'm not so sure you get that on the Switch. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff on that's real questionable to me.
Yeah. And I think it's a leftover mindset from the Wii U era where it's just like we gotta make money off this thing however the hell we can.
I agree.
That and just proving that yes, we've got lots of stuff. Look, lots of content.
Yeah. And we've got tons of we've talked about the arcade classics. We've talked about Wii U stuff coming over. And then now they announced that, I guess podcast comes out. Eterno Blade's the first 3DS port coming over.
Of all things.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
so maybe we can start seeing some darts up.
And what I don't understand is how does Nintendo stand by and allow something? I mean, that might be a great game, and if you enjoy that, that's fine. But how can they let the first 3DS game on Switch? Normally, they would brag about this. How can that not be Mario? How can that not be
Yeah, where's Mario Minis?
Yeah,
Or it doesn't even have to be. It doesn't have to be Mario Minis. It could be Pushmo, or what are some other little third party darlings that Nintendo published?
That was on the Wii U, so they could bring the Wii U Pushmo along. I'm sure they will at some point.
I mean, that's a kiddie game, and they're shying away from that. But Blade, I will see how much of a makeover it gets. It was, I bought it. I bought it when it was on sale for a few bucks. It was nothing special. It was not terrible, not great. Controls were a little awkward. There were probably some people that liked it, but it's a forgettable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't. Nothing I would be excited to double dip on. Go ahead.
You don't turn on your 3DS to play it, most likely.
No.
Yeah, I played the demo.
Yeah,
I feel about the same about it. It wasn't that great.
There's plenty. I think we've all got a few of those on our 3DS where there's just a game that you're just like, I guess I'll just get this, and then you play it for 10 minutes and never boot it back up again. Which that's the nature of the mobile game as well. Yeah.
Except Fantasy Life for me, even though that was a good game.
Fantasy Life was fantastic. I spent a lot of hours on that. But talking about all these games that we don't like, did everyone see the picture from, I guess it's from the early 90s that someone dug up? And it was of Mario with a steamroller rolling over supposed fake games.
Yeah.
That was what makes me think of.
No, I didn't see it.
Sometimes we need a steamroller. It's on our podcast Twitter account if you haven't seen it. So I retweeted the photo.
Okay.
So check it out. It's kind of slightly disturbing because it reminds me of some historical stuff, but at the same time,
well, because it's in black and white, that makes it look a little more
eerie.
More evil.
Kind of creepy. Yeah. Is it Lou Albino or is it like artwork or what is it?
Somebody in a suit. It's just a big Disneyland style suit.
An older version of it because it's kind of clunky looking.
It would have been creepy if it was Captain Lou.
It would have been, It kind of fit in though. I don't know.
But now there's no counterfeits we have to worry about. It's just poor quality.
That's right.
Yeah, hopefully that gets better. Luckily the internet's broad enough that you can also, if you're ever curious, you don't have to put your money down without searching to see if something's, at least get some other opinions on it. People aren't shy about telling you what's a total bad game.
There's a review for just about anything nowadays.
Yeah.
And that's
except on the Switch eShop.
Yep. Except for
if you look at the 3DS eShop, it's like those are all 5 stars. Like,
well, no, there's crap review or crappy reviews for crappy titles. But I know what you mean. They do seem to be heavily weighted towards the positive on the 3DS eShop. Yeah.
Talking about mobile games and things coming to the Switch, one other little tidbit from the GDC survey was 1 in 10 developers are working on loot boxes for their games. I don't know.
Thank God.
What was that?
So thank God. We need more ways to pay for our games.
That's right. Not exciting news for me.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Yeah, I mean that's just becoming a norm in games.
Yeah.
The free to play model and then the pay model, I guess.
It's a good way of putting it.
Which some of the other games are doing, which it's, I don't know. As long as it's, I mean, I understand it's here. I don't mind it as much as long as it's not pay to win. But some people are just absolutely don't want it in any way, shape, or form. But I mean, we fall for it with, Badge Arcade is microtransaction loot boxes, kind of.
Here's the thing. I'm okay with it here and there. Like I'm okay with loot boxes in what's it called, Rocket League, right? I don't pay for them. Just whenever the free keys come up as an opportunity, I'll nab them. But otherwise, I'm not going to put money into loot boxes. But for people who want to, go for it. Like if you know what I mean. I do like the idea to some degree of you can put in as much as you feel like putting in. I do that with some of the phone games like Clash Royale. The wife and I have both put in a little money, not too much, but right, just as much as we wanted to in $5 or $10 increments. Which makes it sound like more than it was. But right, I get that, but I also like the fact that there are certain things I hope Nintendo keeps, like Mario Kart having the 2 TLC chunks. Fine, I'll take 2 packs of tracks, new tracks or whatever. But don't, if they start doing loot boxes and nickel and diamond me, I'm gonna be very unhappy. And
it's different when they say you're paying this amount and you're getting this out of it, as opposed to just a blind roll of the dice. You could get one of these 5 items or 10 items or 20 items.
It's gambling,
yeah. So I don't know. It's scary. It seems to be the way games are going, though. I know Microsoft has a I forget what they call it. It's like it's basically like a Netflix style streaming service for their games. And it's like, as long as you pay this, whatever their monthly thing is, you can play a ton of games for free. And a lot of times those games don't include the DLC in the free version that you're paying, but they do include like loot boxes and stuff. So you could still put money into those games that way. So like I said, it's a model that seems to be, here to stay, unfortunately, and Nintendo's getting hipper to it, testing the free-to-play models and stuff.
But it's not here to stay because customers are clamming for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think. Well, and that's the thing is, I think
that's true.
But because if it wouldn't be here to stay if it didn't work, and I think Nintendo fans traditionally would reject that more so than other. Maybe more so than other, but maybe it's just because we haven't had the opportunity to, and it's a new thing. But we've never paid for online before either. We're going to do that eventually, maybe
2019.
Yeah,
coming soon. Switch for
I know Nintendo is kind of on the DLC bandwagon lately, and it's kind of a turnoff to me because I don't know. I guess because I'm kind of a completionist with a game most of the time, especially when it's sort of a first party game or has a first party franchise in it. I want to
with the word Fire Emblem in it.
With the word Fire Emblem. I did not buy all the Fire Emblem DLC. But like
some of that got out of control. That was the first one where, like, wasn't the DLC more than the cost of the game?
It was a lot.
Yeah, I think it was around $80.
It was, yeah.
So, I'm hoping that did not do well, even though it was a great game, and I hope it was supported. I hope people did not buy the DLC.
Yeah.
But like I was looking at recently, I was considering getting the Mario plus Rabbids game, and while it was on sale, I was looking at it, and then it's like, oh, there's DLC. It's like a season pass. It's like that just adds to the cost of the game to me. So I think I'll probably want that.
Right, it does.
So,
but maybe you'll try. Maybe just buy the regular game, and then maybe you'll love it. Maybe you won't. If you don't love it, you don't have to incur that cost. And if
that's true,
if you do love it, maybe you'll want so much more. Because from what I understand, that's also one of those games where, just like with Zelda, you can't say with Zelda you got a good full game without the DLC.
Right.
Like it's the problem that some of the other consoles and developers have is sometimes people will sell you the other half of the game. Whereas Nintendo so far has been pretty good about not splitting the game up.
Well, unless you count
I've heard that
Mario
too, but
Kart lacking battle mode. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
I've heard that too about they sell DLC as like the second part of the game, but I don't know of any example. Do you know any examples of that?
Well, I don't think I know any specific ones off the top of my head because we don't play those. But
yeah, we don't play
We'd have to
crappy
ask T, right?
EA and
yeah, but I hear that quite a bit. That there'll be things, or even like LA Noire when it came out. That one had a pre-order bonus like for 3 or 4 different stores originally, even though it didn't come out on Nintendo,
Mhm.
where you would have to pre-order the game from like 4 different stores to get all the DLC. Like you couldn't even you had to pick which DLC pack you wanted. Now that they've done this remaster or whatever, it includes all the DLC packs.
Oh.
well, other games
Still not getting it.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of a standard thing too. The exclusive DLC, some cosmetic outfit or whatever. But
yeah, didn't GameStop have the? I think they had some Splatoon outfits for Smash that were somehow exclusive that were tied to something.
The Inkling.
Wait, for Smash?
Yeah, like the Inkling costume or something.
For what character in Smash?
You could just buy them, as I remember, but
it was just like a me outfit. Yeah, I think they eventually did allow you to buy.
Oh, me outfit. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was just
exclusive or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right.
There was something about it.
Yeah, I think the idea of buying and owning a game, just especially for a large AAA title, that's just gone. I don't think that exists anymore. I think you own a core experience, or you own
there hasn't been there hasn't been any DLC for Odyssey yet, right? Except the free one that the balloon hide the balloon.
Not yet. Although they still could.
I have a feeling they won't do paid DLC for Mario. Mario's special.
Yeah.
Right? Mario Golf had DLC.
Sacred.
I sure did.
Oh,
Mario Golf can have DLC, Mario Tennis, Mario whatever, Mario Kart, but
not a mainline.
A core Mario game. Honestly, I would have thought a core Zelda game wouldn't have had one either. But
what about Super Luigi U?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's true. So just not the mainline 3D.
That was kind of a weird. I don't know if I count that as normal, as standard DLC.
How much was that DLC?
$20.
It was.
I think.
I can't remember.
Or you could buy the disc. I was still all in disc mode, so I bought the disc.
Oh, okay.
And you can get it now.
I bought the Wii U that came with.
It might have been $30 per disc. What?
You bought the Wii U with?
I bought the Wii U that came with. Yeah, both of them.
Oh yeah, so I think I did too. When I bought the Wii U. Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't get a Wii U until like 2014, so it was like 2 years.
Oh, so you bought the Wii U after you already knew it sucked. So what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I got mine in late 13.
Sucker for that.
Yeah, you should have known better. You should have known better too, Mo.
I don't even know why I got it.
I mostly just use my Wii U for Miiverse private messages and about it, I think.
That's all of that shut down now, man.
It had he's gotten rid of the Wii U as well. But yeah, I mean I thought the Wii U was good. I think I was so into the 3DS that I was like, I'm gonna buy a Wii U.
Yeah, that was my problem too. Oh no, I mean after I got my Wii U, I was still playing my 3DS more than the Wii U. But go ahead, Z.
Wait, so when I'm trying to remember, when we were playing, what's it called? That was before Miiverse and Wii U and all that. But when we were playing Steel Diver, Sub Wars. Wasn't it?
That was February of 2014, I think.
Oh, 2014. Okay, so that was post
Wii U. It was out already.
Or was it 2013? Maybe it was 2013.
I think it might have been. I think it was 2013. Yeah. I think it was before.
It came out on like Valentine's Day.
Maybe it was around Valentine's Day. Maybe it was right after Miiverse started, I guess. Because Miiverse started with the Wii U.
Remember Miiverse came out. Yeah, but then for the 3DS didn't come out until Christmas 2013. For November.
You're right. Okay. So that's right. So Miiverse did exist, but it was not yet tied to the 3DS when we were playing Sub Wars. So that was a big deal. I remember when you guys could actually make the Fluffy Clan on.
Yeah. Man, I played that.
It's okay to name drop Clan Fluffy, isn't it?
Oh yeah, Fluffy Clan represent.
Yeah. How many hours did you put into Sub Wars, Momo?
Oh man, a lot, probably like 800 or so.
Yeah, don't let them deceive you.
That's
When
not-
they were pros, everybody knew who they were in Sub Wars. It's like, oh, it's those guys.
Yeah. No, whenever Momo showed up, everybody was, oh, shit. I hope he's on my side.
Of course, I think we all played kind of that, what for me was early, late night, around 1 a.m. Eastern.
Yeah.
When everyone started playing it. So you've seen all the same people all the time. Because it's kind of a small community.
Somehow
it was kind of nice, too.
Somehow that game was just perfectly suited for those, you know what I mean, playing in the dark at midnight or after midnight or whatever. It was just because God, I love that game.
It's like for me, it's like I'm lay down to go to bed, and it's like I could turn on the 3DS and play around the two of Sub Wars, and then 2.5 hours later, I would cut it off.
Yeah. It's one of those just one more games.
What made you guys stop playing it? What made you stop playing it? Just new games, or you got tired of it?
You get burnt out on it after a while, just like everything else.
You get burned out.
You know what? I think a big part of it. I mean, there was not quite enough to it. There could have been more. I wish there was a little more to it. It was really kind of a practice. When you look back at it, it was really kind of a beta version of Splatoon. It was kind of
it was.
It felt like they were testing out all the multiplayer matchmaking and whatever for Splatoon.
4 versus 4. It was also sort of a free to play model as well, where it was free, or you could buy the full game for $10 or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was like a very early one of those. It was developed. They said developed by the same team as Star Fox, right? Or Star Fox 64. Or
it had something to do with that because it has the Star Fox submarine in it.
Yeah, and it was there, but from what I understand, it was developed by some of the same people or the same team as some of the Star Fox games. I don't know which, but there was some tie. Yeah, there was some relationship there, and it was
probably Star Fox 64 3D.
It was for a $10 free to play game. It was spectacular.
It was.
I would have gladly paid for a $40 full 3DS game that had all of that just expanded on. A little like I would love Steel Diver with a co-op mode. The single player stuff where you had to like go through the infiltrate a base or whatever. If you could do some of that kind of stuff co-op, that would be awesome.
Ooh,
there was a lot of neat, there was so much there. There were a lot of neat little concepts and good little gameplay mechanics and whatever. There's so much they could have done with that. And it was
maybe someday on Switch. That's one that you don't hear people barking for, though.
Well, when they come out with the Tanks game, Tank Troopers or something like that, I secretly hoped
Tanks.
No, I don't think it was Tank Troopers on 3DS.
Yeah.
That I wished it was another Sub Wars. I thought, they're just doing it with tanks and
wait a minute. Thanks. That reminds me. Didn't Touch Battle Tank show up on the Switch eShop? And isn't that a 3DS port? While you guys are talking, I'm gonna look that up because I think there may already be 3DS ports on the Switch eShop.
Well, there's Shovel Knight, but that was like a dual release on.
Yeah,
and we're getting SteamWorld Dig.
Yeah, we're talking 3DS exclusives.
Oh
yeah.
Because stuff that's on everything is on everything. But
yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure that crappy Touch Battle Tank game was not on anything else.
Wasn't there also a game called Tanks or Tanks?
Yeah, that was a Wii U game. That was an early Wii U game.
Was that crappy? Was it crappy?
Touch Battle Tank SP. No, there's already a 3DS port.
All right.
Aha.
Sorry.
Good find.
Nice work. Yeah. It's the In a Way podcast at work right there.
So
that's us gathering the information so you don't have to.
And now you've got the live reaction, which is,
wow.
Yeah. Floodgates are open, though, now. It's open season.
That's
We'll
right.
start seeing
Yep.
tons.
And this was a 3DS exclusive. Yeah, I'm googling around here. There was even a Touch Battle Tank
Okay.
3D
Wow.
2 for 3DS, apparently.
The games will follow the money. So,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, speaking of games and money,
Yeah.
excellent segue into our next topic, which is,
Lemonade
of course,
stand.
that's right. We're talking about Atari's latest crowdfunding venture.
Desperate cash grab.
Yes.
Desperate attempt to cash in on its name.
Yes. Which is
Yeah.
trying to bring Roller Coaster Tycoon to Switch. Okay. So we've done some research in this, and this was largely brought up by Mo. I really appreciate all the information. But so basically, you can donate a $250 or more, or I guess
Yeah,
they call it
it's a minimum of like
It's an
$250.
investment. You're
Yeah,
investing.
it's an investment.
So that would give you 50% of profit until 120% of your investment is reached. And then
Wait.
Yep.
What?
Wait. Yeah, what is that again?
How does that work?
I don't know.
Well, it's like I think it's your share of. I think it's your
50%.
share. Yeah, like I'm guessing the investors split 50% of the profits until they've recouped 120% of their investment.
Okay, so that's never going to
Depending
happen.
on what your investment level is. Yeah, but the best part is they'll also give you like I forget what the coupon was. It was like
I think it's 25% off.
Yeah, it's 25% off discount if you want to buy the game that you coughed up.
They don't even give you the
$250
game for free.
No.
You do get
Kickstarter's better.
What a ripoff.
To be fair, after you reach the 120% of your investment, they do give you 25% of profits for 18 months.
Yeah.
For whatever that's worth.
For a Roller Coaster Tycoon game.
Split between the 1,000 backers or whatever.
Right.
So 2.5% profits on a game that's going to make 0 profit. So
Well, the Switch is hot. Yeah, it's hard to say. It's like because Roller Coaster Tycoon is a game that traditionally had been hot, but has kind of I think soured a little bit.
Well, apparently the last few versions have been terrible, and I was reading. I guess it's like the expectation is all this is going to be is a port of the last crappy mobile version or whatever.
Probably
that nobody liked anyway. So,
Yeah, it's weird that it's a major company. I mean, well, I don't know if Atari really is a major company anymore.
They aren't. Somebody bought the name and is just trying to make money off it. I don't remember who it is now, but total. Now, anybody remember the Gauntlet games that came out for the GameCube?
No. I remember the name.
No.
I don't think I played them.
What were those?
Okay, so Gauntlet was a game that I played the crap out of in the arcades, made by OG Atari.
4-player.
Yeah. It was one of the original, big. It was a big case with 4 sticks, and it was all co-op going through a dungeon. It was a very early model of like what Diablo and those kinds of things are today.
Link is in the game. It's just not called Link.
Arguably,
it's called the Archer, I think, or something.
Yeah, Questor the elf is the Archer guy.
Yeah. Questlove.
Green elf needs food. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So right, they rebooted those in the GameCube, or pardon me, N64 era, I believe, was when the first one.
Yeah, there was I think there was a Gauntlet 64.
Yeah, Gauntlet 64. They rebooted, and it was a really well done. You know what I mean? It was a good, solid hack and slash reboot. And then, oh no, wait a minute. That wasn't produced under the Atari label, was it? I have a feeling that was produced. Never mind. I'm talking.
Now I'm getting nostalgic for the day when you could just slap 64 at the end of something.
Mm-hmm.
I think those days might be gone. You can't. You can't just be like blah 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 switch.
Well, the kind of
you kind of can.
To kind of follow up on what you were getting at there, Z, I think is Atari has said that they have supposedly generated $2 billion in revenue. So they're legitimate, supposedly.
That's probably by selling, the rights to use the logo for the last Blade Runner movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's odd because it's not a game that really excites me. Like, I know it's had some fans, but it's like if you want to put it on Switch and it's a previous asset that's pretty much, built, obviously you have to port it, but like, why do you need our help, or why do you want our help? It's a bizarre investment opportunity.
The investments, by the way,
Go ahead, Jason.
Is listed in the details there. The investments can be used for administration expenses, travel and entertainment, and paying debt. So, and
yeah, we'd also like you to know we can do whatever we want with your money. It doesn't necessarily mean this money is going into the game.
And they've now said we're going to release the game anyway. Someone's found it in the fine print. The game's coming out regardless.
So.
Well, yeah, they're just they know they're not going to make any money on the actual game, so they're trying to make money off of suckers before the game comes out. I mean, that's really the same concept as pre-orders. They're just going big on it.
Yeah.
Right. It's the same thing that happened to all those people that pre-ordered that last Assassin's Creed game, but just for $60 instead of $250.
Yeah. We'll see. I don't know. It's something doesn't strike me right. I mean, I'm sure somebody out there is going to be like, "Man, I'm going to get rich." Well, hopefully the 250 is enough to be like, "Nah."
I kind of have to expect Atari to announce after all this is kind of cleared, oh, we're going bankrupt or we're having financial problems.
Right?
we picked the wrong year to buy stock in Toys R Us.
That's right. Oh. All our money was
yeah.
But to touch on what you were saying, I was a huge fan of Roller Coaster Tycoon, and when I had a PC, I have a Mac now, so I can't play any of those games because Microsoft kind of owns the licensing to it.
Yeah.
But the original games were brilliant.
You can dual boot. Sorry.
It was a sim roller coaster, basically, right? Like,
right.
You build your own roller coasters and you kind of test them out.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it's kind of
a fun little creative game.
You'd spend it, you'd sit down and almost spend 15 minutes playing this, and it'd be one of those games 5 hours later. You've added 25 rides to your park, and suddenly you're sleep deprived. If that was coming to the Switch, I'd be excited. In fact, I would even, think about doing a Kickstarter thing to get in on that. But from what they've done lately, I mean, I think this game is supposedly based on Roller Coaster Tycoon Touch, which was a mobile game.
Yeah.
It has terrible reviews from what I've seen. It's not really the same game. It's just basically taking it and making a mobile version of it.
There's some kind of red flag that just went off to me when I saw the story that just didn't sit right. I couldn't exactly put my finger on it, but something just didn't sit right.
When they said investment.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like it's not really a crowdfunding as much as give us money and maybe you'll get your money back, and maybe we'll give you, we'll give you 25% off the cost of it. You pay us $250, and we'll give you 25% off of whatever the game costs. That's the only thing you're guaranteed to get.
Can we randomly point out, by the way, Roller Coaster Tycoon was not originally published by Atari?
Yes, that's something we need to mention.
Like, this isn't even an Atari game originally.
Who was it originally published by?
Microsoft, right?
Just not an Atari. Oh,
it's Infogrames, apparently. The game was developed by Chris Sawyer and published by Infogrames. Oh, that's Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. Let's see what the original... Oh, no, yeah, Chris Sawyer is the guy that wrote the original. So, I mean, but you know what I mean? This is a company that has probably just kind of sucked up all these old nostalgia-riddled licenses, Atari, Roller Coaster Tycoon, and is just mashing them together to make some money.
Wonder how their new console's going.
Yeah, huh?
Haven't heard a lot about that in a while, or at all. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, I don't know why I thought of this just now, but maybe because you had said it was based on Roller Coaster Tycoon Touch. But I did see Voez did an update for their game that now you can use pointer controls for the Joy-Con. It was one of those games that had to be a touchscreen game only.
Well, here's the thing that's
so they've updated it for the console folks,
and that's cool
folks.
that works. It should be built into Nintendo's OS, and they shouldn't have to update their stuff for it.
Yeah,
in my opinion,
Yeah.
or maybe it is, and they had to update it just to enable it. I don't know, but it seems like that should have just been a standard thing, and it's odd that it isn't.
But it was a launch title, so you'll never see that game unless it goes on sale.
I would still like to be able to use my Wiimote or my Joy-Con as a pointer. Why can't I do that when I have it up on the menu?
Yeah.
That'd be nice. Technology's there; it can do it.
It's too much like a Wii, though.
They don't want to associate. They want people to think of it like a Wii,
unless they're playing ARMS.
It's not Waggle control.
They don't mind.
It's a legitimate competitive gaming experience, Jason.
That's right.
Which, by the way, ARMS is currently, well, actually, by the time this comes out, I don't know if it still will be on sale, but Nintendo kind of did their first big North America sale on some of their titles like 1-2 Switch and ARMS, none of which have cracked the bestsellers list still, even with their
if ARMS had dropped
generous
to 20
30% discount.
If ARMS had dropped to $20, I might have double dipped to get a download version.
Yeah,
I said it. Double dip on ARMS. I said it.
I'll take your other copy for free.
If it was $19.99 on sale, how many of us would buy it? I mean, Z said he would double dip. How about you guys?
Nope.
Man, I don't know.
Why would you double? Oh, just to have a download version?
Just so you didn't have to. Just so you didn't have to get up to put the card in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. No.
You know what I was thinking actually the other day was
no, I wouldn't buy it.
ARMS would be a real nice title right about now to drop on the Switch. Had you never heard of it before?
Right?
Yeah.
They didn't need to. You know what? They didn't need a big drop that month. They had just dropped Mario Kart 3 weeks prior, and they were dropping Splatoon 5 weeks after. There was no need for it. Or maybe it was the other way around, but it was like 5 weeks and 3 weeks. You know, there was no need for it then. They should have kept it in their pocket until now, and I think it would have gotten a much better reception at this point.
Hey, we got Kirby in March and Labo in April. Oh.
Yeah. To me, ARMS is still a good one. Right when people come over, or when I bring it over somewhere, like you hand them the 2 controllers, and especially if you need a couple people to do it, right? And here, fight each other. Like it's as good as 1-2 Switch for that kind of, pick up and hey, this is what this new console can do kind of thing. And you know what I mean? So for me, a download version totally is ideal because it's something I would bust out on people, and people have a good time with it for an evening, and then they're over it, and then they would never touch it again. But that's fine if you have enough. If you have enough random evenings with people coming over and playing with it or whatever, it makes it worth it. In my case, it's on that borderline. I've put my own chunk of time into it. It's not terrible. Just I wish there was more to it.
I wonder if it's sold 1 million copies yet. Yeah. When it'll be eligible for a select. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I just want to say, you guys have got me thinking about how differently the last month could have been, as if the mini direct came out and the theme of it was ARMS. We would all be jumping on that. We'd all be like, we need to find out more, and it'd trickle out the information over, a couple months.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be a totally different Nintendo land out there.
I feel like we're in a drought right now.
I think I would still.
And it's only January. I mean, it's only January. It's been. I mean, they dropped Xenoblade, I guess, was their December one. So I mean, it's only been a month, but after the fast and furious pace of 2017, and also I guess there's not a lot to look forward to. At least last January they dropped and said, "Hey, here's all the stuff that's going to be coming out this year."
Anyone excited about 30 frames a second Dark Souls?
Not really.
No.
I've
never really played it.
I might have been willing to give it a look if it were. I don't know. The 30 frame a second thing really irks me.
30 frames doesn't bother me as much as I've mentioned many times. I'm a big wuss when it comes to game difficulty, and the fact that Dark Souls
Really?
has become a a phrase like, oh, that's like the Dark Souls of blah blah blah, like is for meaning something's hard as hell. I'm just like, I don't know. Does it have a "Can I play Daddy" mode?
Did you play through Doom on easy, or would you play through Doom on?
Yeah, I played it on easy.
Okay.
And you know what? It was still a pain.
Oh.
You know what? I will
easy,
agree. Right. Having played through all of the old school Dooms and whatever, in the old days, I played through on easy, and it's friggin' hard at some parts. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just fine for me. Like, to me, like if I put a game on and it's too easy on easy, I'll bump up the difficulty level. But for me, I just want to have an enjoyable time. And Doom, I still had plenty of times where I died.
Yeah.
Or there were spots where so yeah, I got nothing to prove to anyone. I'm just playing games so I can have fun playing games. So I do prefer, though, like with Nintendo games where there is no difficulty and it's just the game is adjusted to be one perfect difficulty where you don't have to worry about ramping it up or what.
Well, and it depends, like, because certain games they miss that mark a little bit. What's called that? I loved it, but it's the last. It's funny to me that the only Zelda games I've completed are the first two and the last two. But that
although people said Breath of the Wild was very difficult, which when you first started, I guess it kind of is. Although nothing changes throughout it, you just get better at the game.
Well, you get better armor and
you get more hearts. Yeah,
like lately going back to the DLC. Like I said, I've been very sloppy. Yet everything's still plenty easy when you've got the four. You got your special abilities and you've got all your armor maxed out. So Guardian shots only take off a few hearts now.
Yeah.
In the old days, that was instant death.
That said, there have been.
You completed Zelda 1 and 2. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, the
hard game.
Number 2 sucked. No, 1's not so bad. 2 sucked. 2 was miserable. I would never go back and play that one again. But at the time, right when you're a kid,
that would have been that's all you had.
It's the
play until you get good.
I mean, I played.
You've been waiting for it for. You've been waiting for it
that
for
when I was
2
a
years.
kid.
Yeah.
What?
Well, I didn't own it though, so I guess that's why I didn't.
I'm sure I rented back then. Just the fact that I had a gold cartridge was a reason to rent it.
Oh yeah. But and then Link Between Worlds was the one I was talking about. That one was too easy. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was a good old school top-down Zelda, and the 3D was beautiful and everything, but it was a little too easy.
And now it's a Nintendo Select.
I don't mind when a game's too easy, but it hurts my pride if I have to set it to easy. So I always go medium.
Yeah, I got over that a while ago. A little bit older than that, I think.
Basically, once you're of childbearing age, at least, or once you're of like an age where you have to make a living, it's like you just don't. You know what I mean?
I just want to sit down and play through a movie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
No.
That's why I like JRPG.
Yeah.
Well, no. Okay. See, I was just about to say that's exactly what I don't want is to sit down and play through a movie. Like and that's how I feel about JRPG. Is that regardless of how many cutscenes or whatever there are, it's like everything's metered out. There's X amount of grinding that you're going to have to do before you fight this boss because you got to be this. You know what I mean? Everything's very kind of predetermined and pre-configured. Whereas an action game, there's immediately just the control itself gives you all sorts of variability. Right.
Yeah, I don't want a point and click, and I don't want something where I'm just getting button prompts all the time that says press this to continue the game.
Or just
so you don't like Ace Attorney?
I think I tried a demo. I couldn't get into it.
I also don't like games where you have to worry about choices that you make. Right.
Where you have to deal with the choices.
Where you have to worry about choices like, do I need to tell this person this or that because this will get me the better story arc or whatever.
That's Persona to a T.
Yeah, I don't like to me, about as complex a path, selection as I want is what I get out of Mario. I want a warp zone, or I want two worlds to choose from. Even Mario Odyssey, when I got two worlds to choose from, that's when I took the cartridge out. I haven't been back.
Which is funny. Well, if it makes you feel better, the next world.
Yeah,
it's like the third and fourth world or something. You have to choose
Isn't
between
that like
the Snow
as soon as you
Kingdom and
beat
the Lake
one
Kingdom
world,
or something.
Yeah.
It's literally.
However, the world it's already making you choose.
However, spoiler alert: whatever one you choose, your next level will be the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, I didn't know that.
Like an old Mario, you can just skip worlds and go back and do them later and whatever.
I've been playing the crap out of Mario Odyssey. I finally decided I would get up to my 500 moons so I could technically complete the full game or whatever.
I'd also like to clarify. By saying that I don't like to have to make choices and whatever, doesn't mean I like my game to be linear. Like Zelda, like Breath of the Wild is not at all linear.
You just don't want to make a mistake that you had no way you were knowing that you were making a mistake, and you don't find out until 10 hours later.
You don't have to replay the game.
Exactly that crap. Like I don't want to have to, I don't want to have to find out. Oh, I should have picked this 3 cutscenes ago, and no, screw that.
I'm not normally for that kind of thing, but I think Fire Emblem does it pretty well. It gives you a reason to want to replay it, but I mean, I really love Fire Emblem, so maybe I'm weird, but
like you get permadeath.
Yeah, you get permadeath, which means you get good on every map. Yeah.
It's not Fire Emblem if you play it. What's the other mode called? Casual?
Casual, yeah.
I don't want to have to replay a whole game just to choose a different cutscene, I guess. Go ahead, Jason. Sorry.
Yeah,
I agree with you. Well, perhaps we should reel it back into our topics since. So, continuing on to talk about Atari, we did find out there's going to be an Atari-themed game show coming out called $1 Million Pong.
That's got to be a joke.
Beer pong?
I mean, I know I'm the one that found that and posted that, but I still am having a hard time believing it.
I think I've seen a trailer for it. I don't know where or how, but I think I've seen.
I mean, they're making a Tetris movie and a Troll Doll movie, so
why not?
Why not? I guess
Tetris movie.
Trolls is already out.
Alex.
I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
all I know is that I don't think it's going to get out. I think they'll do like a pilot or something. How does that work these days for
TV
shows?
If there's a Tetris movie, it's got to be about what's his name? Alexei.
The creator.
Whoever created Tetris.
Yeah. No, it's going to be some stupid. They basically are just grabbing that title so that they can use it for a sweet title screen at the beginning of the movie where the actors' names drop on blocks, and then that'll probably be the last you hear of it.
So you're talking like pixels, but it's Tetris based.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, game shows aren't really that popular. It seems like anymore.
Nope.
They had a revival.
I don't know.
Yeah, like what would this be?
Still around?
Would this show be on regular television?
Yeah.
Well, you remember how they used to do those special what was the it wasn't Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? What was the one that Howie Mandel used to host with a briefcase?
Shoot.
Let's
make a deal.
Let's make a
deal.
deal.
Let's make it. Remember how that was a special event thing where it would just be? No, it wasn't Let's Make a Deal, but it was whatever.
Oh no, it's not.
Buy my briefcase. The game.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
No, but that was something where it was like a special deal where it was like they would do it for a week. And then it would go away, and then it would come back. So maybe it'll be something like a primetime thing. But for some reason it reminds me of the No Whammies game or something.
Deal or No Deal.
Deal or No Deal. There you go.
And the No Whammies.
Deal or No Deal. There you go.
Yeah.
My grandmother loved that. So shout out to.
To Grandma, big ups to Grandma.
That's right. She loved that.
Game Show Network up in the house. Yeah, I don't know. Pong is a. It's why not just make a electronic table? Why not do a Pong clone and save yourself the licensing fee like so many other people did in the 70s and 80s?
Hey, can I randomly point out though, we have nothing like a paddle on a modern controller.
Yeah.
Closest thing you would have
Your
would
Joy-Con could be a pedal,
be touch or
as
motion
it will
control.
be in
But
Mario.
I had Arkanoid for the NES, and I had loaned it to a friend of mine.
Oh, you want one of those?
Yeah, and it came with the little paddle controller. Loaned it to a friend of mine who broke it. That guy was. I got stories about that guy.
Hey, what about 1-2 switch, where you have to turn the Joy-Con to be like a tumbler for the lock?
Yeah, but I couldn't. I don't know. I couldn't.
Yeah, it doesn't spin. Yeah,
it doesn't translate quite the same way. I do miss those paddle controls.
You know, I remember playing a Commodore. There was some. No, now we're way off. But there was some race car game I used to. Was it Le Mans? Le Mans, I think. And I used to play it with a paddle control, and you'd push the button for gas, and you'd use the paddle to steer left and right. Oh, the paddle control! You kids will never know.
I don't know that one.
Anyway, let's get out of here before we.
Yeah, we're going down that really dark hole here. So, getting away from Atari. So
up the creek without a paddle controller.
I am. Yes.
Hey-o.
So there was a little piece of hardware that has supposedly been coming out for quite a while now. The mini Switch dock by SFans.
SFans.
SFans. Okay. It was supposedly coming out in August of last year. It was delayed and delayed and delayed, and just now, some folks are actually getting the final product, and it is not like it was promised.
It's not the final product. It's there's a million little cheap ass Chinese companies trying to pump out, knockoff Switch docks right now, and they just bought a bunch of them and are sending them out to people because they took all their money or something.
Yeah, I get the feeling that like it's a lot like Best Buy's Insignia dock and like the Nyko dock. It's the design's very similar. The problem, and I think we did talk about this on our earlier episode a long time ago, a very early episode. I mean, the original one was supposed to be a little tiny square with a USB-C cord, and then you put an HDMI in the other.
Oh yeah.
And it was just like a little.
It was like a dongle. Tiny little brick. It was a little tiny. Yeah, it was a little dongle with a pigtail, like a Chromecast or a Roku stick or something.
But it was also something you could easily fit in your pocket or backpack or switch case.
Yeah,
I mean that's what was kind of the beauty of it was. It was
the size of an Oreo, as they say.
Yeah, and now it's. I guess they sent their backers an email sometime and said, hey, we're going to delay the product a little bit because we're redesigning it. And I think they did show the redesign was more of an actual dock that held the thing, which I don't know why they decided to do. Although people had called them out before because the dongle they had was some sort of repurposed like Samsung dongle for a phone that allowed you to do something, so that they just kind of repurposed.
They basically mocked up. Yeah, from what I understood, the original designs were basically they'd mocked up something from like some other phone model with just like a switch case. You know, and it was effective because I think a lot of people thought, oh sure, this ought to work, right? Probably a couple tweaks to the firmware, and it's the same thing. And as Nyko and others have found out, it doesn't seem like it's all that easy to replicate Nintendo's hardware for some reason.
And I was excited for I mean, when this thing first came out, I thought about it. I think the price was close enough to the Nintendo dock, though, that I was like, man, I'll just wait.
Yeah,
it was close enough that it didn't seem like that good of a deal. But I was like, I would love to have a little handheld dock for just whip it in your case, and then whenever you go somewhere, if you want that option,
be nice.
Yeah. Although I guess technically that would require you to set your Switch down, and I guess you could do it on its face if you didn't want to block the air ports, but the vent ports. But yeah, I feel bad for the people that invested in this and got something completely different. There needs to be better ways for those people to go against companies that do stuff like this. Every now and then you hear about stuff.
Randomly. Sorry, not to interrupt. Randomly on that subject, I just decided to Google up, Nintendo Switch dock on Amazon. There seemed to be, it looks like there's already a product being sold under a couple different names. That's exactly what the SFans adapter was supposed to be for $25.
There you go. How many stars is the review?
One of them's
Free
got
shipping.
340 reviews, 4 stars. $35. That one's $35. There's another one's $25, 5 stars, but 4 reviews. So, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah.
That said, and I'm kicking myself for this one, the stock Nintendo Switch dock on Amazon right now, which is also only 4 stars,
Yeah, it's on sale.
is $76. $75.99. So, anybody thinking about it?
No tax.
Depending on where you are and all that business. Sorry, go ahead.
No Switch tax.
That's right, no Switch tax. We should mention also that this mini Switch dock, from some reports, it does not only does it not what they promised, but it does not work at all.
Yeah, there's been quite a few that are like, this thing doesn't even work. Which you'll get probably with anything, but yeah, it's like you kind of almost and maybe it's just your fault for backing these people, but you kind of, when you do an Indiegogo or Kickstarter, you kind of feel like you're getting this artisan thing that you're paying somebody to kind of craft something that's of a higher quality standard. It's a smaller company doing, and this is very obviously just like a chunk of Chinese plastic.
I don't know, man. I don't think I'm necessary. You know what I mean? I think if I'm getting higher quality something, I'm not getting a kick. They're not going to be asking me to help them fund it.
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe.
It just
Some of the other
depends.
ones
I mean, right? It just depends on the situation. Like I chipped into what's it called? Ukulele.
Yeah.
I haven't put a ton of time into it just because I have a big backlog and a baby now. But what I played was, what I expected. Now I know what I got came out way later than the other releases, and came out with a bunch of bug fixes because apparently the first one came out and they had a lot of problems. But yeah, I mean, what I mean? I feel like I got my money's worth. I feel like I got a good quality product, but then I went in on, oh, hey, it's like all the guys from Rare starting up their own developing house again and putting out a game.
Right.
So it's like a safe bet.
And that's something that was
like
dramatically over.
Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah, that thing was like way over funded.
Yeah, like they blew well past
as well. Like they were asking for like 100,000 or something, and then they ended up with like over $1 million
or something.
Yeah,
and they were just at the end. They were just making up goofball stretch goals.
This SFans thing could very well be something where they had no idea what it would really logistically cost, and they're scrambling to fill orders.
They said at the beginning that they already had the deals for it to be produced. They already had talked to the manufacturers and had that set up. So
that makes you sound fancy.
So they want
to say some good BS like that when you're trying to do a Kickstarter.
Just to counter Steve's point, I have to bring up Mighty Number 9, and that had KJ Inafune's stamp of approval on there, the creator of Mega Man. So
well, and that's the thing. It's like with a Kickstarter, sometimes you get a Shovel Knight, sometimes you get a Mighty Number 9.
That's right.
Enter at your own risk.
Sometimes you get a Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, I'm on the only other Kickstarter game I'm on is Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, and that's been like,
it scares me.
That one's not. Ukulele has now come and gone and has been forgotten about, and that one's still like I have not seen any playable footage or anything. I just keep seeing like character art.
So what'd you get for contributing to the Kickstarter of Ukulele? You get the game for free?
My name in the credits, and I didn't get it for free. I got it. I put down on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
What said it again?
Well, I didn't get it for free. I put money on the Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I got it for the amount of money I put down on the Kickstarter, which came out to I think it came out to $27 because it was in euros and
good deal.
I mean,
that's a good deal.
Right, it's probably cheaper than that. It was probably cheaper than that on PlayStation and Xbox by the time it came out on Switch anyway.
Yeah, but you got your name on the credits too, though.
The credits are
Blame
literally
him.
if you let the credits run at a readable speed, they would literally take you like 3 or 4 hours to go through.
For
Yeah.
10 hours.
Um,
Right.
Hopefully there's a skip button.
I mean, again, they had a target of like 10,000 or 100,000, and they blew through, I think, like 2 million. I mean,
But on Switch, you might be able to watch those and then take a screen cap when your name comes up.
There were tens. Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
There were tens of thousands of backers. So it's like, unless you're specifically scrolling, they're alphabetical, so you can go find yourself in the credits. But that's pretty much all anybody's doing. Is finding. Like I saw a bunch. Like right after Ukulele came out, I went, on Twitter, and that's what all the screenshots were people posting their name in the credits.
Credits aren't nearly as fun like they were in the NES and Super NES games when you could just make fun of all the crazy names. Or try to pronounce them.
Damn foreign Japanese
just your username or whatever.
Sorry, Eric.
I would say Nintendo
it's not your actual name; it's just your username.
Nintendo was one of those major companies in the 80s that people started looking at, and I would say Toyota and Honda also, but there were a lot of Japanese companies in the 80s because that was the time where Japan went from that derided, crappy made in Japan to like in the 80s was when people started going, whoa, wait a minute.
There's a joke in Back to the Future about
their economy.
Yeah.
Made in Japan.
When did their economy tank?
When we bombed them, probably.
I don't know what that had to do with their economy. I just meant like, people used to think of products made in Japan as being crappy, whether they actually were or not.
They were the China, and then once electronics came in the 80s and cars in the 80s and 70s.
That just seemed uniquely suited to the Japanese mindset, programming and logic systems, right?
Where do we go from here, Jason?
Well, we're going to reel it back into our topic list, which was there's a rumor out just recently, I think maybe just started today, that Microsoft is possibly buying Electronic Arts, our good old buddies EA. So EA is worth $35 billion, by the way. So that'd be quite an investment.
Microsoft's good for it.
Definitely.
But how much is Microsoft worth?
I have no idea. I wasn't that prepared. I'm sorry.
More or less than Bill Gates?
More.
Because it just seems like, I don't know. EA is a pretty damn big company, and I don't. Why would EA be selling? Why would EA be in the market?
I mean, that's one of those fun like
there's
rumors.
The Battlefront thing, but that's nothing. That's a blip.
Yeah, that's one of those rumors that
that's true, though.
I don't believe, but it's so juicy that you just want to. Although, if you recall, I mean, a few years ago, EA was saying the video games industry was so flat that they were going to start focusing more on mobile only, back away from consoles, and then now it seems like they're kind of back, sort of, thanks to their licensed properties.
Sort of.
But yeah, that would be. I have a feeling if Microsoft ever did actually buy EA, they would do it like how they did with Minecraft, where thing multi-platform, and it's just a moneymaker for them.
Yeah,
it could.
But that would be a big pickup.
So you don't think that they're going to
buy one of these companies?
So you don't think that they're going to use EA to try to bring more traffic to the Xbox, trying to,
I don't know. They could take a few choice titles.
Can't be worth that. Can't the Xbox? Yeah. Okay, so I'm looking at this. Microsoft is according
to worth $35 billion.
Numbers I'm looking at is 114 billion.
That's it.
I thought the numbers I found was 560 billion. When I looked up their net worth.
Yeah. Give or take.
But nobody buys Windows anymore. They just get it from a friend. Yeah, no.
This is
businesses keep them in business.
2016, so I don't know.
Yeah. they're doing okay. I'm sure they're good for
They're
it.
worth some money. Let's just say that.
And EA is too.
Point being, it
They're
just,
good for it.
But I mean, you know what I mean. In any case,
but
that's still
yeah,
billions of dollars.
Point, like,
Really.
why would EA? Yeah, why would EA sell? Like, just
why would EA be selling? And
seem...
I can't imagine Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft is sometimes they make questionable business decisions, but I can't see them going, "Hey, this Xbox division is just bleeding money. Let's dump 35 billion more into it."
Right.
Like, I just.
Well, now we own Madden. Now we own Star Wars Battlefront.
I just
FIFA.
Why? Yeah, but then we're back to why would EA be? You know what I mean? If it would be worth it enough to Microsoft to spend that amount of money, then why the hell would they sell it?
Yeah.
It just doesn't. The logic doesn't add up to me unless there's some sagging hole in EA we're not aware of. But
maybe they want to bring NHL games to the Switch.
That's Momo's personal dream there.
We're gonna have to buy EA to make this happen. Yeah.
Should we start a crowdfunding to buy EA?
I think maybe we should. How much you got? I got a couple singles here.
To get people on board for a crowdfunding project to buy EA, we'd have to announce that we're going to buy EA and immediately shutter it. And sell off all the licenses to developers selected by the people throwing in the money on the Kickstarter. That's how we'll do it.
EA has a lot of hate going for them right now, but I have a feeling that they I don't even know if they need to bounce back. That's the thing, is they're one of those companies that everyone loves to complain about, but Madden always consistently does well. Even Battlefront 2 is probably still doing fine,
Yeah,
but it's like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, movie. It seemed to take the movie studios a while to figure out that you couldn't just hire some random developer to just make some shitty game based on your movie and expect it to have any sort of positive marketing impact or make you any money, right? It seems like the same kind of thing here, where it's like EA. I don't know who would buy an EA game if they hadn't collected all these licenses. Like, right? If EA just put out a random game that wasn't tied to a major sports franchise or whatever, would anybody buy it and expect it not to be utter crap? Like
Faye? Is that how you call it? Faye?
Yeah. Well, even that's another. That's one that they bought, though. They're publishing it. It was made by a different studio, but didn't EA did the that was one of their titles, right?
Which one?
Like back, the Medal of Honor games, if you remember those, like the World War II games, which were kind of like a predecessor, I guess, to the Call of Duty
in the old days. But I don't know. Maybe there's exceptions I'm not thinking of. But I think of EA as the modern equivalent of all of the DC movies that have come out.
Yeah, they just
budget
without their licenses. There's not much there anymore.
Yeah, but they're these huge budget, spectacular extravaganzas that are devoid of any real quality that makes that, you know what I mean? Everybody seems to dislike all of DC movies that come out, yet people continue to buy them in droves just because they're the new Superman movie or the new Batman movie.
They want to like them.
It's like they're just a necessary evil, and you get what you get, and that's kind of, I don't know. I mean, and the sports franchises, I've bought into them some years and not others. I don't know, some years and not others. They're better or buggier or flakier, and it's, you know what I mean. I've heard people complain about half-ass patch schedules. Their online distribution setup that they did for PC games was a disaster. You know what I mean. It's just right. I never hear about them ever doing anything right. Like, and again, I know they're a company that people love to complain about, but I don't know where the positives are, and I don't know how sustainable this is as a business model, that your customers hate you, but they have to buy your stuff.
That's a good.
Is that what Nintendo's working on?
Nintendo's been that way for forever.
Yeah, I mean, Nintendo.
That's sustainable for the cable companies too.
Nintendo ventures into that category, but then they do the cardboard stuff. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Nintendo has a goofiness to them and a lightheartedness that people will forgive them for some of this kind of crap.
Well, it's like Eric says, it is like the cable company. It's like no matter how much you complain, if you want to play Madden, you got to go through EA. So it's like, if you want an officially licensed game,
sports franchise game, you have to pay the piper. Yeah, and you have to bend over, and this is what you get, and that's that because they have the exclusive license.
So I don't know. I thought it was an interesting rumor. I don't know that I believe that it would ever happen, but
I don't believe
certainly would be fun.
Same thing with Star Wars Battlefront. I'll just throw it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's another.
I should just throw it out.
There is another developer who is kind of the bane of the Switch eShop, and that would be Hamster, of course, who is pumping out all these wonderful Neo Geo titles. And they've recently announced they hit 1 million downloads. That's combined worldwide, 1 million downloads.
That's because they sold one of each of their games.
One of each of the
games.
No, you know what though? I can't call them the bane of the eShop because like I said, I only half paid attention to the topic list, so I didn't know what you were going to say when you said the bane of the eShop, and I figured it was
that would be Tencent,
crappy mobile phone game developer or something.
Yeah,
they're
doing pretty good work. Yeah,
I mean, I just wish they were categorized and organized and in their own section. That's not their fault. That's Nintendo's fault.
And the reason we didn't like them early on is because they were the only games in the eShop.
Yeah, there's bitterness built up about that. Yeah, because they're the only virtual console we get. Yeah,
but I know they've got a I can't remember the name of the football game that's coming out next week.
Oh yeah, I saw that too.
But yeah, it's like I had a friend growing up who loved Neo Geo and was like, I want to buy one of those Neo Geo arcade systems that had like the multiple games in them. I'm like, the Switch is for you, buddy, because they got them all. They're starting to at least put out some titles that have wider appeal now. Now they're
the
not
original
just Neo Geo.
Dragon. Yeah, I'm tempted on the original.
I was saying
King of Monsters. I think you said.
Oh,
I pulled up a list of all of their games on the Switch recently as I was looking through some of their games, and I'd say at least 80 or 90% of those games are fighting games.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Neo Geo. Yeah.
It was the arcade fighter machine, right? It was if you weren't playing Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, you were playing a Neo Geo machine. Which I guess that still means it was third place.
Yeah.
The only game I can think of that's not a fighter is like a Metal Slug, but
yeah, that's kind of like a run and gun. I mean, they had some of that. They've got a golf game, and they had some. Yeah, there's. I think that's out on the Switch. They've got a few games that are like sports games. Sorry, go ahead.
The football game is called Football Frenzy.
Oh, is that the one? I think it was a different one. I'm thinking there's one that's like a robot football game.
Ooh.
Where are we going to get a Mario football?
Where it's got like landmines and stuff.
Oh, if it's the one I'm thinking of, I'm buying it. Part of the fun of that game was the controller. If it's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh.
When's Mario Tennis coming out again?
Do we even know?
Mario Tennis Aces?
Soccer
Do we care?
No hard date.
Wait, when did the Mario? Now, back in the old days, I loved the Nintendo sports franchises, like in the NES days.
Mm-hmm.
And then pretty much since then, they've kind of gone off the rails as far as I'm concerned. I mean, what Mario Golf?
I love the Ken Griffey Jr. But
then there was a Mario
first party.
Wasn't there a Mario All Stars baseball or something that was pretty good on like the Cube or something?
There was a Wii, I think, even like a Sports Slugger, Super Mario Slugger.
Yeah, maybe that was the one on the Wii.
Well, they also had. Remember, they had didn't they have the Street ones too that were like Mario Strikers and stuff like that? They had.
Oh yeah.
They've done. That was like one of the launch title or early titles on the 3DS.
But to be honest, I've never played any of. I haven't played a tennis like a Nintendo tennis game since the black box Tennis for NES. Like,
Same here.
I didn't even play Super
Black
Tennis.
Box, what?
Oh wait, no, Virtual Boy.
Oh, and you guys
yeah.
are forgetting about Wii Sports.
Oh, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
that counts too.
Which I didn't really play.
Wii Sports?
But
Oh, yeah,
Wii
that's
Sports
great.
Tennis.
I love Waggle Control.
That's all right.
Yeah.
It was Waggle Control, all right. But Wii Sports Tennis was really,
I love it.
that was very similar. That was like old school, right? It was basically Nintendo Tennis, black box.
Yep.
Yeah.
But with motion controls. Actually,
But
now that we
why are
think
you
about it,
saying
so it was
black
like
box?
original
I'm not
Nintendo
following.
thing.
The original NES games all had like a black box. They all came in a black cardboard box, and like the labels are black.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And they have the little
those are
8-bit
just the series
characters on them.
Yeah, like the pro wrestling and even Mario. So they just call those the black box series. Wrecking Crew, the good ones. Donkey Kong Junior Math.
The ones that in many cases were originally in the arcades.
Yeah. All the ones with pixelated graphics that actually showed the actual gameplay before they learned that they could sell it off of a comic book or movie cover.
Well, no, but they've
like
done that. They've done that on previous. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Atari did that. Yeah,
that was the thing, is that because Atari graphics were so terrible, they were never on the box. So Nintendo, the NES era was the first time they could actually show actual graphics on the box, and they didn't.
And you could be like, that kind of looks like what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, it didn't look like utter crap. Like, I remember Super Mario. It was little 8-bit Super Mario, and it's like, hey, there he is. Whereas on any previous system, if you showed it on the box, it would be like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So before we leave the topics of Neo Geo, so just for the record, how many Neo Geo games have we bought here in the podcast?
Oh, I bet between us all, you could probably count on one hand.
I bet between us all, you would count on one hands. Yeah. Has anyone bought a single Neo Geo amongst this group?
No.
Not yet.
I would guarantee you that's one of those things that it's the whales and then it's nobody.
Yeah. You know what's funny though? You were talking about Double Dragon, which almost enticed me. I Toys R Us, they actually have a plug and play arcade version of Double Dragon, and I can't remember if it was like $30 or $40. It seemed like, and it's just the arcade version that plugs into your TV. And I was like, wow, that's a good deal.
Wow.
There's actually a deal on, there's something on Switch that you go, wow, this might be, arguably the cheapest option available for this.
I think the $8 price point of the arcade classics is what's the sticking point for me. Even if they were $4.99, I might be more
I'd have bite. There's a couple I would have picked up already for $5. Yeah, definitely.
$5. I'd probably pick up Double Dragon for sure.
I'd have picked up the Weird versus Mario. I would have picked up Double Dragon. I would have picked up. I probably would have picked up Metal Slug.
Versus Mario, by the way, still sticking in that bestseller list. I think it's like number 2 still.
Suckers.
And the indie darling Celeste is taking a top spot this week.
Oh.
I don't know, man.
He bought that.
There's a market for the 8-bit stuff. I'm kind of over it.
Yeah, that turns me off. Yeah.
I mean,
I saw the graphics on Celeste, and I was like, no.
I mean, there are things that are okay. Like, what's that Spike Dungeon one? That
1001
Spikes?
No, the new one that
Enter the Gungeon?
No, it's the video you posted, man. What's that one called?
Oh my
Quest
God.
2 or something?
Yeah, it's called like Trap. Trap 2, yeah.
Trap House.
That's a real game, by the way?
Yes, that's a real game.
Oh, I thought that was a joke video.
No, that's a real game.
Dude, that's apparently a real game. So, but see, just simple, like the way the little block falls down is very nicely animated. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though it's 8-bit or something like Shovel Knight, right? It's 8-bit, but you can tell there's a lot of care and careful construction that goes into it. And Celeste looks okay. Celeste though looks not as good to me. Like in some cases I feel like people get it, right? There's an artistic eye that's picking up on it, and in some cases it just doesn't feel like that they get it. And Celeste, at least at a casual glance, looks like they don't get it. Like, you know what I mean? It doesn't. It doesn't look like a Shovel Knight or one of these other ones.
It's 8-bit for
It's
the
really
sake
polished.
of being 8-bit, right?
Although although I know it's got really great play mechanics and supposedly it's got a really great story. Like I said, I haven't picked it up. It's another one that it supposedly is very, very difficult, although it has like an assist mode, like an easy mode, which I guess they explain, like, this is not really how we want you to play the game, but if it makes you feel better, here you go.
Well, and I also understood that a lot of the areas have like a hard path or an easy path, like a straight up. You can go around the obstacle in many cases.
And there's a lot of collectibles, of course. It's gotten really great. It's got a lot of 10 out of 10s, which I was surprised to see.
All right.
IGN coughed up a 10 out of 10 on it.
I don't know. For those of us that lived through that era, here's what Celeste looks like to me. It doesn't look like an NES game. It looks like a Commodore 64 game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's you know what? Part of it is the color palette, I think. It doesn't have the bright thing, but I think it's also like supposed to be a game about depression and stuff like that too. So maybe the drab color goes into that.
Well, drab. I mean, drab is one thing, but to me, it's just kind of ugly because it's not really like, you know what I mean? It's because it's how do you describe the background is brightish, you know what I mean? It may be gray, but it's like a bright gray or a bluish. It's like you know what I mean? It's like a bright gray kind of thing. I don't know. It just something about the look is off-putting to me. That said, I appreciate, like, I have a lot of that kind of crap on Steam that that I've only put because right, you only pay 50 cents for $1 for it, and I've only put 20-30 minutes into a lot of it, but I do appreciate it, and I do appreciate that there's somebody putting this stuff together and whatever, and some of it's really thoughtful. And again, like, just to bring it up because it's funny, the stupid shower with your dad simulator, right? It looks terrible, but it's just somehow it's just goofy fun for a little while, and some of those other ones.
Is Celeste on Steam, by the way?
I believe so. Yeah,
I think so.
I think it launched on multiple consoles, which, like I said, I haven't played it, and at the $20 price point for some reason is a sticking point for me. But everyone who's played it seems to really enjoy it. So it seems like it's one of those special ones that will eventually go on sale.
See, here's the problem is that I think everybody who buys games is already to the point where they have a backlog.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like a game like Celeste comes out, and to me that should be a $4 or $5 game, but there's so many $4 or $5 games on the eShop. So in some cases, I think if a game has a lot of buzz, they'll jack up the price, and that actually will sell more copies because it gets it more interest and it makes people think it's got more legitimate value. Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, from what I understand, it's pretty fully fleshed out. It's got multiple like extra worlds that you can unlock, and there's even more stuff that you can unlock if you do so well. So it's supposed to be
kind of like Shovel Knight. Like there's a lot.
Yeah, supposedly it's a lot packed into it. Like I said, it looks cool. I can't say anything because, like Neo Geo, I've never purchased any of it. But I think eventually Neo Geo's got to put out something cool. Like I said, the thing I like about Neo Geo, or not the Neo Geo, the arcade classic stuff, is that on other consoles they have huge libraries of arcade games that you've actually heard of. That you might pick up. They just haven't all made it over to Switch yet. So, I mean, once they start putting out some kind of heavier hitters, I'm sure I might pick a few of them up.
So speaking about...
I can't think of any heavy hitters on Neo Geo. Go ahead, Jason.
I was just going to transition into the next topic, which is another indie game that was supposed to be coming out for Switch that has been delayed yet again. And I know Z was particularly interested in Morphie's Law, which which now is saying it will be a spring release, or they've already said possibly summer as well.
So it's coming in fall. Oh,
Most likely.
So
yeah.
could be September 20 fall.
Yeah. Or next year. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the interesting thing to me about that is just that it last fall's like little sizzle reel, their little Nindies thing, that it was pretty heavily promoted. So I think everybody kind of expected it sooner.
Definitely.
So yeah, but who knows? Maybe they hit
I
a
did.
snag. You know, like I said, good old Pocket Rumble still hasn't stuck its head out, and it was supposed to be a launch title.
And that's that's having a relationship with independent developers, right? More so than, well, I mean, AAA titles have their share of delays, but Nintendo has been actively courting the indie scene, and just by its nature, it's not going to be as stable as the big guys.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one of those games that when you see it, you're like, it's kind of a cool concept. Although depending on what it's priced at, would I pick it up? I don't know.
I could see Morphie's Law having, if it's really polished and well done, and it's got good variety and well thought out levels and yada yada. I mean, the concepts, it's a neat concept, right? Everybody agrees.
Yeah.
That's a real kind of, thought provoking concept. So if it's well done, I mean, you know what I mean? If they really do use this delay time to polish it up, maybe they got some buzz and picked up a big publisher or something, Maybe we could get lucky, because I think that could have
a adding more content,
like if it comes out at $20, that could have a following like Rocket League, a little to some degree. They might be retooling it to be more of a battle royale type game, a la Player Unknowns and what's it called, Fortnite and all those.
So depend on. I mean, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that, but depending on, I think that was going to be a Switch exclusive too.
I think so.
That's like that might have a little stuff on Switch, might have trouble catching fire like it does on other consoles, I feel like.
Well, no, right? There's Super Meat Boy. They sold more copies of Super Meat Boy at launch on Switch than any other launch.
but I mean, as an original, like Super Meat Boy is an established thing. Like, I mean, a game coming to Switch that's an indie exclusive to Switch. That
I'm trying to think what
Nintendo needs a Cuphead.
Lots of devs have launched on multiple consoles and sold more on Wii U. Didn't Shovel Knight launch on everywhere else around the same time as it launched here?
It launched, I think, on 3DS first. It was at first.
So I mean,
but that was a big one.
So you can have those. Way Forward does really well on 3DS and Wii U, right?
SteamWorld games. Yeah, they were original 3DS.
Huh?
The SteamWorld games was original 3DS.
Oh yeah.
That's
those
true.
Guys. That's true. And they also, I think, have said that they, there's lots of those devs that have said, hey, guess what? We sold more on Nintendo than all other platforms combined, or what the hell, we kept hearing all that stuff when the Wii U, when the Wii U was tanking, we were still hearing, hey. Of course, those numbers were heavily padded by 3DS, I'm sure, but you know what I mean.
And Nintendo's really good about promoting indies, and getting behind them and doing the stuff. It's just like Celeste has been a big hit. That was one of the ones in their mini direct, which I remember seeing, going, "Why is this in the mini direct?"
Yeah, who cares about this?
Apparently they knew it was something special.
Yeah, and again, Morphie's Law will be coming out, when there's probably 20 million Switches in people's hands worldwide, right? It's going to have a potential, maybe. If Nintendo were to push it and they were to really put out a polished product, it could totally take off. I hope, because I'd like to see it. I think it's a really neat idea, and I think it looks like a lot of fun. I think to me, when I first saw it, it looked like that's my next Splatoon, maybe.
Yeah.
And for Mo, that immediately became Rocket League.
Yeah, I feel like the Switch sales are probably slowing down now to a crawl. And that it's really hurting them to not have anything to look forward to. And unless you're somebody who wants to get it for the games that are already out, or it's like if you're on the fence right now, you don't know what's coming, because Labo's a system seller,
yeah, totally.
That's gonna.
You know what? To some degree for small kids, I think.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think
You're not gonna buy a $300 system so that you can put together some cardboard with your kid.
$300.
You go to
You can
you
pay
go to the
another
craft
$100.
store. Yeah.
No, I agreed. And here's another thing: is like when they announced before Christmas, all this stuff like Bethesda and all these things, NBA 2K, and it's didn't. I kind of expected the floodgates to have opened. They seem to have immediately shut. Like we got.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like.
Well, I feel like there's a lot of people that were waiting to see what happened, and now that it's had some success, I imagine once it gets to fall or something, we're going to start seeing a flood of stuff like that again. But I feel like there could be even more stuff right around the corner.
I think it's like the opening of the new Mad Max movie, man. Well, it's not really new, but the last Mad Max movie.
The newest.
Well, whatever. The water. Right.
Yeah.
They spray it on the people.
See. I mean,
they get a little They basically get enough to get a little bucket and then turn the water off. Go home. That's all you get.
Yeah, I don't know. It is
turn
odd
on the fire
that
hose,
they
hit him in the face for 5 seconds and then done.
Like and like I said, it's so hard to speculate because it's only January, and I have to keep telling myself it's only January. Like this is month 1 of the year.
Well, no, actually, it's not by the time this is posted. It's not.
Well, that's true. It'll hit February.
That's right.
But it'll be only the 1st. But yeah, it feels like they were like, all right, so we'll do this, and then this is Christmas of 2017, and then they're like, all right, what about 2018? They're like, I won't worry about that shit next year. Click.
Yeah,
like it feels like this year was so well planned out, or last year was.
They said that usually after a mini direct, I think the longest stretch was
21 days,
22 days into a direct.
Yeah.
Well,
so
but there was a Labo. I think the Labo announcement throws that off.
Yeah.
Okay.
There wasn't a direct. There wasn't a full direct for
that. Was our mini.
Plus, usually in January there is a full direct. It seems like almost every January there's some big, Nintendo thing.
So tomorrow,
thinking, guys. I think
tomorrow.
I think the Labo is it for a while. I don't know. I mean, to me, they better announce something. We got what we got. We got Wolfenstein and Dark Souls, and I can't think of any other major third-party titles on the horizon. Can you?
GTA, we don't know
not
about
major.
That yet.
Not major, but they got the Fall 2.
There you go, the Fall 2.
Yeah, exactly. With AAA titles, man. What do we got? Like I'm back in Zelda doing the DLC because Mario just didn't give me the boner it should have. But Zelda's a world that I just love to go back to. But I need something else. I mean, I mean, I kind of got a backlog on this thing, but it's small stuff. It's, what I mean? It's all little games.
I say at least finish the main Mario. Like you owe it to yourself. It doesn't take that long. It's not that long of a game to just finish the main kind of.
There's been you know what? I don't know that I've ever skipped a Mario except for like the RPGs. A mainline Mario, I've never skipped. I've at least, and there's been a few like that where it's just like I grin and bear it through to the end, and it just the first whatever's the lowest level that you can beat it at, and then I'm done and don't go back. New Super Mario Brothers 2 on 3DS was one of those. Like I had no desire. Like I got to the end, and then I had no desire to go back and play like the areas that I didn't, play or whatever.
I collected 10 million coins in that. I think it was 10 million, or was it
1 million?
100 million? 1 million? I don't know.
And then you street passed everyone.
All you get is a gold Mario statue.
I tried that for a long time. I never.
You don't show off.
I got close, but I never finished it.
Yeah.
That one is like. Remember they sold the DLC for it. I had
time to go back.
Wait. There was DLC for it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was just those versus stages, right? Or those whatever you call them, street pass stages. Or...
Yep.
Yeah, there were a couple games. Like I said, Mario Golf had some DLC to it.
How many of those do you think they sold? It was DLC that was dependent on Street Pass. Like that was just That seems
No,
so
but yeah,
chaotic.
Mario Golf had like some. Well, it had some. It was some online tournaments and stuff. I think that you could only access if you had the DLC.
that was DLC.
Yeah, you had to have because they would be online tournaments for DLC
insane.
courses.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, but
I don't
the
know.
weird thing is right DLC
Wow.
that required Street Pass, like you know what I mean? That care to limit your audience. Like who's going to
Yeah.
download that? There's probably like 5 people.
I bet it did.
And then
All right.
and then because it's Street Pass tied, like
Mhm.
you know what I mean? What's the point if nobody else has it?
Since we're talking about social things, oh, are we there yet?
Good segue.
Oh, we're
I
so
was
off
trying to-
topic. I don't even know what I'm talking about
We
anymore.
were going to talk about the Wii Points edition being disabled
Oh yeah.
as
Oh,
of
yeah.
March
Because
26th.
we were brought up the Wii shop earlier. We discovered that Excite Truck was actually a disc game,
Yeah.
and Excite Bike World
Yeah.
Rally was the download. I think I'm going to get
Was
both.
the WiiWare? Yeah. Yeah. So, is it March that they said they're cutting off that you won't be able
March
to add any more
26th.
money?
Yeah.
So, so
Still
you guys have about a month and a half or 2 months
I wonder
to
if it
get your
means.
money into the Wii.
I wonder if there's a point of it's like 1 year after the second console has come out or whatever, right? I don't know if that
Yeah,
timing.
I'm sure they just look
Close.
at how much is coming in and
Yeah,
say, all right,
just
let's shut
okay. We're
this
not
thing
making
down.
any money on this anymore.
Yeah.
Cost
But if
versus
you guys
cost
out
of
there
doing
have money
stuff.
in the Wii system,
best be
it's
spent.
time to buy whatever you can buy.
I wish
Money does
they
not
would.
transfer.
Here's what I wish. I wish they would just drop a sale for like the the last remaining however many months, and
Wii Fire Sale.
and B, let me buy in dollar increments for God's sake, so I can get
Yeah.
rid of these $3 that are 300
They're not
points.
doing a software update for the Wii now.
No, I know.
We can't even get one for the Switch.
Oh yeah, still no backgrounds, no folders,
Yeah.
no Netflix.
Yeah, I mean,
No
I think
browser.
I've bought
Although
everything I'm
we
gonna
found a
buy
way
it
around that.
at the prices that the like. I mean, isn't it like $9 or $10 for Nintendo 64 games there, in the Wii shop and stuff like that. Although some of the stuff like Super Smash Brothers for 64, like that's your only way to get it. I think, because I don't think that one ever made its way to Wii U.
Then WiiWare.
And the WiiWare stuff,
Nope.
which
As
I'm
far as I
surprised never got re-released.
There
Yeah.
was there's no way to back up your Wii, really. I don't think anybody ever found a good way to do that. Your Wii dies, it dies.
Mhm.
If you transfer it to your Wii U, then you probably got a little bit more life left, but nobody's found a real good way to back up your Wii U hard drive either, other than plug in an external hard drive and transfer everything over,
Yeah.
which you technically can do. You just have to copy it over twice or like download it twice. Long story. I kind of
Stuck up,
I went
stuck
through
up
that
on your Wii U's
process
now.
once and then decided it wasn't worth keeping it all in sync. So I blew away the second hard drive. But for a while, I did actually have a backup of my Wii U hard drive.
Wow.
Your Wii U or your Wii?
Wii U. Wii you couldn't plug a hard drive into.
okay.
So, SD card
Oh,
was
you're
the
right.
best you
Yeah, that's
got. And you could only put save data and stuff like that on it.
Could you even plug an HDMI into the Wii?
No, you could not.
So
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So I forgot about that.
so it's end of an era for the Wii, but
Yep.
you've got until March to load up a bunch of cash, and then you got about another year to spend it.
Or not even another like 6 months, right? Isn't it?
May
It's
of
2019, I think, right?
Oh, is it? I thought it was end of this year.
that's
No, May.
2019. May of 2019, I think.
That's
That's
plenty of
also
time
when
to
the
spend.
But you have to
online
know that
paid
you're going to
service
impulse
came out.
buy some stuff. Yeah. So,
It's not like
yeah.
you're adding new stuff. So I
If you're
mean,
if you're buying anything on your Wii at this point, it's not an impulse purchase.
If you know you're the type of person that's going
It
to
has to be.
procrastinate on whether you need Zombies Ate My Neighbors, or the
You
Super
need
Star
Just
Wars
Dance
games.
2019.
I will
Just
say
Dance,
this.
baby.
That's not a Wii. Oh, yeah.
One benefit to Wii U owners is we do kind of have the definitive version of the Wii
Yeah.
built into our Wii U. and anything, assuming that you transferred all
For
your
what that's
Wii
worth.
stuff over.
Yeah.
Yeah, for what it's worth. I mean,
Yeah.
right?
What's
It was
that
it was a cultural phenomenon for a time. So, like for me, I have a kid. At some point, hey, this was the Wii. This was all the rage in 2006, about 10 years before you were born. It's a notable artifact in the history of Nintendo. And for example, like me, all right, I just have this weird obsession. Like downstairs, I've got the Virtual Boy in the closet. I've got the GameCube with the Game Boy player, and every once in a while, I'll have people over, and I'll just plug all that shit in, and it's just fun. I'll just just have all these different consoles out, and let's plug in a Game Boy game or whatever. So it is nice to have this one little machine that's got. I have a ton of Virtual Console on this that I'll probably not be able to transfer to the Switch. But I also have, everything, all the old Wii games, and like I have a huge book. The only thing that kills me, if this thing could play, the GameCube stuff, then it would be like the definitive from the era of disc-based Nintendo consoles. This would be the definitive unit. But right, like I've got a giant book of discs for the Wii and the Wii U, and yeah, some of it's crappy shovelware, but a lot of it's stuff I picked up cheap on Amazon or whatever. But I don't even know how many games on disc I have between these two consoles. Like the only other platform that may have more games than my Wii U might be Steam, because you get those dollar bundles with 10 games in them all the time. And there's just there's so much indie crap on PC, but like I have so much stuff on this Wii U, and good quality stuff, and so much of it is on the Wii that it hasn't come over, right? All the WiiWare, so many of the Virtual Console titles. Smash Brothers, for God's sakes, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Has not ever appeared since the Wii on a Virtual Console. So I mean, there's a lot of good stuff that there. If we have any listeners at all, which we don't, but if there's anybody listening, go browse and remind yourself of the Wii Shop and how like all the good stuff that's on there.
Glory.
That
you can get Arrow the Acrobat too for Super NES. I did notice the Commodore 64 games they took off, I think, a while ago. So those are no longer there.
That's
their own little arcade system, there that had some of the Sega arcade games, Altered Beast and stuff like that. Zaxxon, which I own. For anyone that's older than
Zaxxon would have been the most amazing 3D classic for 3DS. I kept waiting for it. It never happened.
It's like Sega turned their back on Zaxxon.
Was that originally Sega?
But whatever. Yeah, it's Sega. It's a Sega title. But yeah, it's good times. Now that the Wii is officially dead, Eric can sell it.
Before we get
I would have sold it if my sister. But go ahead.
I was just going to say, before we get lost too far in Nintendo land there, we do have one other major thing coming soon, and that is, of course, Miitomo. If you fired up the game recently, you've no doubt seen the service terminating coming May 19th or May 9th of this year. So, pretty big deal.
They should have put that out faster sooner.
Who'd have thought the Wii shop is going to outlive Miitomo?
I don't know. I mean, it was a neat idea, and it was fun for a little while. And if they'd kept expanding on it, we'd have probably, it would have held our interest a little longer. But like a lot of Nintendo things, they're a neat idea or starting point that they just can't ever seem to develop much further. Like Project Giant Robot. Right, it seems like, or Star Fox Guard, or even Star Fox Zero to a degree, right? Sometimes it seems like they get a core concept and then they get locked into that, and then they just can't get out of that box. And it kind of felt like Miitomo did that, like this. Oh, what a neat idea! So what else is there? Oh, nothing. That's it. I don't know. So it was fun for a time, and I got to know everybody really well. And I'm gonna, miss. I already miss the time that I spent in it because I don't ever open it anymore. But I'm not gonna miss the app itself. I do hope there's a way to archive it like Miiverse, though. I like all that stuff.
They've pretty much already said when they kill it, you will not be able to access anything in it.
No, but here's the thing: I've got a
gig
of it's got a gig of crap sitting on my machine, on my phone.
Yeah.
So what is that?
Your phone. That's
a good point.
So
garbage.
There's got to be something there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's garbage
I guess
data.
You'll have to get a Miitomo. You'll have to get a Miitomo emulator and see if you can.
Japanese spy software.
On it now. Yeah, I mean,
that's what it is.
I think it's been a big surprise to a lot of people. It's like we all have joked about Miitomo and knew that it shouldn't exist.
At least after
it did exist.
After the first 3 months, everybody was like, "Okay, we're there was 5 of us left that would still use it."
Yeah, but it does bring up the point of. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
Well, one of the premises of the game was that you could get to know your friends better by you'll have this me that'll be your go-between. But the problem was nobody wanted to answer in-depth questions. They just wanted the points, so they just yes or no or.
Well, because the questions quickly got repetitive and uninteresting.
Well, and some of them were too personal.
That's true.
Tell us about your latest failure in life. Nobody wants to hear about that.
What's your deepest, darkest secret?
Yeah. The questions started to either get weird or just annoyingly repetitive, and you know what I mean. It just felt like there was a lack of depth beyond the initial.
I mean, the whole the whole concept was flawed. Yeah.
Well, I was
going to say the whole concept was flawed.
The concept itself was flawed. It's like Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. It's like, oh, this is neat. This is a cool execution, and after you've spent about 30 minutes with it, you've seen all there is to see, and there's just no more depth. And it's like I think
with most mobile games, that's par for the course.
Yeah, but there's other aspects to it that make the repetitive activities compelling, and Nintendo seems to have missed that component.
Yeah,
there's somehow lacking the connection between what you do and what you get and why you care.
Yeah, I said, and I feel bad because it does bring up the question. There's, probably not a ton, but there are people who have put money into that game, and now that money was spent for nothing in their eyes. That
I think the reason they're not doing refunds in North America is because of the law. I think in Japan you're allowed to do.
Well, the refunds I think they're doing in Japan though are only if you have existing money that you haven't spent yet.
Yes,
they're not refunding you for the money that you've already spent on stuff.
Existing money that you haven't spent yet.
Yeah, if you somehow carry a balance in Miitomo, you loaded up $10 and
I thought it's immediate. Whatever you spend, it's already converted to.
It might work differently over there. I don't know.
Well, no, if you bought, you'd buy coins, right?
Yeah, but here's the thing: if you're sitting on a ton of coins, you didn't necessarily pay money for those.
No, but it's talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Awesome. That'd be awesome if I could cash out my coins on it. I got 100,000.
That's what I mean.
That would be nice.
If the buyable currency is also accumulable without buying it, then you know what I mean. That's a little more difficult as far as giving refunds on the currency you have left.
You can prove but you can prove whether you paid money for it or not.
Yeah, but then if you spent money, who's to say which percentage of the money you spent is the money that you bought, and which percentage of the money you spent
they can tell which of my coins on my Nintendo are from Miitomo and which ones are from Animal Crossing. And which ones are from...
Okay.
Yeah, they know how many hairs are on my head.
I'd
maybe
imagine
they build that logic in, but it seems too complicated. I don't know.
I'd imagine this would be a very small amount of players. This is people who's, put X amount of dollars into it and then quit playing.
Yeah.
I don't think this is people that have
that's what
been playing for a while.
Yeah, that's why I like the game, is that there really was no incentive to spend money on it. So like I always had tons of tickets I could just blow through. Or
as far as monetizing, they really dropped the ball on giving any incentive to people to want to pay any money into a game.
Yeah, it was great. Good times.
But it does
I'd say we all got to know each other more on it. Sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Yeah, it does bring up as he was getting at, it brings up the point: do you want to put any kind of money into a Nintendo-based mobile game? Is it going to be gone one day?
No. You know what? Nintendo has, a long history of asymmetric gameplay, shall we say, or what are some of the others? But they have a long history of saying, "Hey, look at this great idea," and then they move on to the next one before they really do much with it. The Wii is arguably an example of that, right? It was like, hey, look at this, look how cool it is. And you think of all the possibilities, but then none of those possibilities ever come to fruition beyond. Like nothing ever beat Wii Sports.
Yeah.
Right.
And arguably Wii Sports Club was worse than Wii Sports because it didn't have rival control.
Well, it just, it was what it was. People were just over it by then, regardless. And not that like Wii Sports Resort, I arguably was a better game, and people say it was great, but like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There wasn't like people who bought the Wii and said, okay, Wii Sports, and then they bought a bunch of the crapware that came out immediately after it. It was terrible. and then they bought their HD TV, plugged their Wii into it, and said, hey, this looks terrible. And then they put it, it gathered dust on a shelf. And
whereas with Miitomo, you load it on your phone and you immediately say, this looks terrible, and you never load it up again.
Or Pocket Camp, or whatever the case may be.
I know Jason and Max used it still pretty much on a daily, if not, or at least weekly, right?
Daily. I think we're both
me
daily.
Too.
Yeah, Eric.
Daily. I was daily.
Yeah. You want those points?
I was daily for a little
those points, yeah.
For me, a part of me says, yes, I don't have to play this every day anymore for those pointless coins.
Right.
Yeah, that's me too.
But then part of me says, this is an end of an era. Is this the end of...
It's definitely an end of an era, yeah.
How will I ever know my friends' birthdays again?
I know, I feel like I need to go...
I know, that was great for reminding you of your birthday. And
that is true. That was the first place I was going to check when Mo mentioned that the other day. More so than Facebook, even.
Yeah.
Because Facebook, it's all sorts of people I don't know.
But to me, I mean, this is kind of like another part of the Wii's Me era going away,
Me versus
ERA.
Yeah.
In case you can understand my Southern English.
Meverse goes away now. Miitomo.
Yeah.
What are they going to take Miitopia off of the eShop?
If they now part of Switch, but they could always just remove Mii's with a firmware update.
Yeah.
Now, but they still have all the
built-in. Still keep my icon,
your pose, and your facial expression. Most people on my Switch have a Mii. On my friend list, so I think they'll probably keep it. But it is
although that can also be a voting system. I'm sure Nintendo can tell how many people are using a Mii versus how many people are using something else. And with the new influx, cute, but is it too dated now? Is it something like that's a bygone era? It never really looked that cool. It was pretty generic, and it's only special to Nintendo people. Anyone else is like, that looks stupid, probably.
No, it was when it came out on the Wii, everyone thought that was neat. That was a big thing. You come over and make your little character so you can play your games.
Yeah.
But is the Mii still relevant?
You said it's only special to Nintendo people, but you have to say most of the people with a Switch, or a lot of them that are going to keep playing it and using it, are Nintendo people,
Yeah, but it's going to bring in a larger audience of non-Nintendo people, and those are the people that are going to be using the cool picks. I'm gonna be a bullet bill with a
Once you buy a
mustache.
Switch, you're a Nintendo person.
That's an excellent choice for a cool pet.
Yeah.
Unless you also own.
Or a T-Rex with a mustache. Yeah. I don't know. They could sure stand to put more avatars out too. But yeah, I'm keeping my Mii as long as I can.
Same here.
Me too.
I did go back into Miitomo a few times since the announcement. They are giving away free
Boatloads of
coins and free tickets, so you can get all those outfits you never got before, and then never be able to see them again.
I think I should mention too.
Make your Mii photos now,
especially since Max is not here, because I know she shares my affinity for the Mii photo function. I use that to make my avatars. You don't get to see my great avatar here, but like on my Twitter account and even on my Hangouts account, my personal Hangouts account, I use things that I've made in Miitomo. So I'll definitely miss that. And I wish that was a freestanding feature that you could download, because that's a lot of fun.
You'd buy just a Mii photo generator. Make your own Mii photos. Yeah. Maybe they should do. Like I said, they kind of sometimes they have these little flashes of brilliance that they don't realize. And I don't know. I mean, I've used the Mii photo generator. It's probably the best aspect of Miitomo, especially because you can bring your friends' Miis and stuff like that in. But just like I thought, the best aspect of Wii Fit for the Wii U was the fact that it had the pedometer. And I was like, they could just do a mobile game like or something like that with a pedometer where you put it in, and it, like even something like that seemed like it was more interesting than the rest of the game. So I wish they'd get hip to stuff like that and be like, hey, let's just put out this little mini game. It's sad to see the Miitomo and the Mii photo go.
Do we have any topics, Jason?
Or
are we just totally off? Are we just totally off in outer space at this point?
No, Miitomo was the topic of
on Mars.
So
we stayed on.
We've reeled it back in.
Holy crap.
We've been around the universe, but we've ended where we started, so to speak. So, well, that's right.
Anybody else have any final words on Miitomo?
Miss it as much as Miiverse.
Agreed.
For sure.
It's true.
It was for its time. I enjoyed it, and its time has ended, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I just would like to save it if I can. I'd like,
just write it on paper.
Take screenshots.
Hire somebody to transcribe that for you.
And possibly be careful of how much money you put into other Nintendo apps.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the lesson to be learned here.
Yeah. Or just realize. But then again, Eric's already learned that from Badge Arcade.
Yeah, got burned pretty bad on that.
And that's still here, so I mean, I guess it is what it is. So I think some people were upset with that aspect of it, but I mean, as with any game that you put money into, you're not going to be playing it forever anyway. So you kind of got to look at that. You're not really buying something; you're just trying to get a little bit of enjoyment while it lasts.
Now, see, in the old days, you really were buying something, though.
If you, it's a little different there because you're buying something and they're taken away from the game. It'd be like if you bought DLC for Mario Kart 8, and then all of a sudden Nintendo says, "We're not supporting Mario Kart 8 anymore. We're removing the game from your system. You will no longer be able to load this game."
That's true. That's true.
Kind of like that. Oh, sort of.
Yeah, I guess you still technically would be able to do Mii, or you should have been able to still do Mii photos in the outfits that you bought with coins that you bought through the Miitomo app, I guess. And now you're not going to be able to. So yeah, you are kind of losing some of it, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, it's time to wrap up tonight. So I want to thank everyone for tuning in and listening with us here. And of course, if you've got some Miitomo. Yes, we appreciate Barry. He's definitely our biggest fan. So, So if you have any Miitomo memories or anything you want to share about it, or anything else we talked about tonight, of course, you can always hit us up here on YouTube. You can hit us up on Twitter. And of course, you can listen to us on Stitcher and iTunes. So thanks for listening and have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.